A chapter closes, I guess.
Shauna, good to have you back with us. You saw the sentence,
Yeah.
50 months, so that's 4 years, 2 months, which comes under the pre-sentencing report. What do you make of that?
So really what we have to remember is that the pre-sentencing report added in a few aggravating factors that actually changed the guidelines. That's why they were on the higher end. They added in the fear and threat. These are items that came from the other charges that he was acquitted of. The judge was very clear. Even when he started, he said, I will not consider the acquitted charges and that information when I am sentencing. So if you take that out and you look at what his criminal history is along with the sentencing guidelines, that's where you get this sort of, he's on the higher end of that spectrum. So we always have to put it in context.
So prosecutors, they wanted 11 plus years. The defense wanted 14 months. All in all, is this considered a win?
I think it's a win, and I'll tell you why. So when we look at the prosecution, they had all of these aggravating factors. They wanted to say that the victims were vulnerable individuals. They wanted to add in the threats and coercion, the obstruction of justice. Had they gotten those in and the judge agreed with them, he would have been looking at a higher sentencing guideline. So when we look at what he was sentenced with, it is on the higher end. However, the judge said he wanted to impose a sentence that was going to deter others. However, when we look at the time, you serve 85% of federal time. Okay, so when we're talking about 4 years, that's already going to bring it down to 3.5. He has a year in. So now we're talking about 2.5. So
but what about the play when, you know, there are certain rules that you have to play by, and he was caught with the, you know, the other
so let me tell you
over the
other
phone
aspects of the sentence.
Well, that's actually not going to come in sentencing. I'll tell you where that comes in. That's going to come in when he's up for parole. When we get to this time that he can be up for, the Bureau of Prisons is going to say you didn't play by our rules, you violated our rules, therefore you can be denied parole. And so that's where you're going to start to see that.
But the hope and expectation, I think, is this is what the judge was getting at, was don't do that.
Exactly.
That what we're looking for you is to show true accountability, to show true change, not just to the court, but to your children, the family, and all the other people who followed you throughout your career.
Exactly. They are looking for him to be a model citizen. If he wants to stay on the lower end and get any time for good behavior, he has to be a model citizen from this point on.
Let's talk about an appeal, because you know it's coming. What do you think are the chances of that happening? Because the judge was, you know, very clear. He wanted to make sure everything was buttoned up, that there weren't grounds for an appeal.
All the I's dotted, the T's crossed.
Absolutely. This judge is he's an amazing judge, and I'll tell you why. He builds a record. And what is a record? That's everything that happens at trial, that when it goes up on appeal, they are only looking at the record. So he has made a solid record because he knows that this is going up on appeal. However, I will tell you, I think the biggest grounds for appeal are going to be on his denial of the Rule 29 motion, which is where we know they say that these charges should not have they should have not been able to been brought, and that he shouldn't have been found guilty. And so I think that is going to give ripe grounds and fodder for the appeal.
And you alluded to this at 4 o'clock. There's a litany of civil cases that are underway now and perhaps more to come, correct?
Absolutely. I expect to see more come out of this, because we have to remember, although the civil trial does not impact the criminal trial, criminal culpability can be brought into a civil trial. So I expect to see even more lawsuits filed.
Wow. So much today.
The legal drama is not over.
So much to unpack. We're going to delve certainly more into this.
Shauna, thank you.